This is Doug Roberts. He and his wife own ConQuest Deer Farm and ConQuest Scents. They are the makers of Evercalm, Rutting Buck, and VS1. Hunters claim it's the best hunting scent that money can buy. Watch how they collect hunting scents and take care of hundreds of whitetail deer. Right here on ConQuest 200. It's fall in Michigan, and the feeling of cold air, rain, and the view of trees display a beautiful color. It's hunting season, and it feels good. Or it could be just another day at the office for Doug and Karen Roberts. But one thing's for sure, it's another blessed day that God has given right here on the ConQuest Deer Farm. Let's get you up to speed with the bucks on the farm. The first buck is the largest. He's a 2-year-old named Wilhelm. Over in pen 7 is another 2-year-old buck sporting a tall frame and goes by the name Trigger. Rocking out in pen 4 is another 2-year-old. This beast carries a wide, heavy rack and goes by the name of Judge. But honestly, it's more than just antlers. It's genetic marker breeding for resistance against diseases. The end goal, a better, healthy species, and it all starts with a 1-year-old that can make this happen. His name is Genesis. We can't forget to mention the Evercalm does, just voted by Outdoor Life as the best overall hunting scent. Heading in for collection, these are the ladies that produce VS1. What other scent company displays their deer herd like ConQuest Scents? It just solidifies the fact that it takes deer to make deer pee. Ha, go figure. Knowing how it was collected and where it came from must feel good when you go to use it in the woods. For most hunters, the ability to witness whitetail behavior is limited to the hunting season. For Doug Roberts, he has been living among these majestic creatures for over 30 years, learning their ways and habits. And Doug will be the first to admit these whitetails teach you something new every single day.
So when you look at the deer industry and you look at ConQuest Deer Farm, there's two different views when you look at this genetic resistant markers. Some people are not believing in it at all. And they just say, you know, deer are deer and it's just going to be the way it is. But because we have ConQuest Scents and the RHSA, the Responsible Hunting Scent Association, which is our trade association for the scent industry, we have to do everything we can do to make sure that our products are safe and free of all diseases. And the biggest one being CWD. And we hope, and we're very confident because it worked in sheep, we're very confident the same thing's going to work in deer. And so we can weed out the possibility of any of our animals ever catching CWD, which means none of our urines that we collect can ever have CWD. And so the hunters know they're not spreading any diseases while using our products while hunting.
By testing each fawn that is born, you can now know who carries the highest level of CWD resistance. This allows Doug and Karen Roberts to take advantage of selecting the healthiest whitetails possible, and a future one step closer to an immune whitetail herd.
And Genesis on our farm has the very best markers that we've ever had. In other words, we're trying to breed for those negative numbers which have a higher resistance to catching the disease if they're in an infected environment. So it's improving the health of the deer herd, and the deer farming industry literally, I think, will breed CWD right out of existence. So that's what we're trying to do here at ConQuest Deer Farm.
I just went ahead and filled the dart. The veterinarian's here getting set up. He's gonna be approximately 25 minutes, so that'll give us time to go out and get him darted, get him nice and asleep before we need to bring him up for the vet to start the process here. So just a couple little odds and ends that Tony's out helping the vet get ready to roll, and then we're gonna head out and get this guy put to sleep.
You've sort of been doing this on your own for a while now, huh?
Well, this is the first time we've done a collection without Doug here.
This segment was brought to you by ConQuest Scents Evercalm, voted the #1 best overall hunting scent. This segment is brought to you by the ConQuest Scents Hunters Package. Using VS1 and Evercalm together is a deadly combination. It's October 26th. Doug and Karen are away from the farm for a special event. Nate Walton will be darting a 1-year-old buck named Genesis. He's a buck that has resistant genetics towards CWD. By testing each fawn that is born, you can now know who carries the highest level of CWD resistance. This allows Doug and Karen Roberts to take advantage of selecting the healthiest whitetails possible, and a future one step closer to an immune whitetail herd.
You've sort of been doing this on your own for a while now, huh?
Well, this is the first time we've done a collection without Doug here. But as far as Tony and I probably did 90% of the darting, where we're moving deer, cutting antlers, stuff like that.
Tony is a farmhand that's been with ConQuest Scents for years. He started in the scent building and now works side by side with Nate and Doug. Tony will be moving the deer into position for Nate to get the perfect shot with the dart gun.
With this wind, you're definitely going to want to try to bring them that way. Okay, so Tony's going to take me out to the tree stand. I'll get set up to get this buck darted. He'll then go back and pick up a cameraman, which is kind of a new experience for him. So he'll have a cameraman on the ATV with him as we're getting this buck in position to dart. Nice job. That was perfect.
As good as we could hope for.
Man, you couldn't have done that any better. They stayed calm. He never ran. That's perfect, Tony. Nice job. Tony did an amazing job getting this buck in position for me to get a dart in him, and we put a great hit on him, so it shouldn't take long for him to go down. While we're waiting, Tony's going to go back and check with Advanced Deer Genetics, just make sure they're ready for us to bring him in for the collection process. Past history would dictate he's going to be lights out here in about 15 minutes. That's a good hit. It's always a tense situation anytime we're dealing with tranquilizing a breed buck to move them, especially since this one has the highest genetic resistance to CWD on the farm. We don't want anything to go wrong with this collection. So the intensity is a little bit higher since Doug's not around. Sometimes things go wrong here that I'm not 100% sure how to deal with. So having him absent today it's a little more intense than normal. Come back here. Pressure right here with her.
So it's kind of nice that I don't have to be here for the semen collection process, and it's a good thing for Nate to do on his own. It kind of makes him step up, but I did tell him I still want to know how the results went, how the animal's doing. I'm nervous. I'm excited for him, yet I'm nervous because it's the first time in 30+ years I haven't been involved with it.
Okay, lower down. Yep.
Do you mind to hold the leg?
Here, 44.
Do you mind
helping you just passing the glasses.
Dr. Lalo from Advanced Deer Genetics will be carrying out the procedure. This involves applying a series of short, low-voltage pulses to the pelvic nerves which are involved in the ejaculatory response. It sounds like an extremely unpleasant experience, but doesn't cause distress on the animals.
I haven't seen anything yet. Drop, yeah.
So I've been involved with enough collections of bucks at this point in my career here to know that something is just off with this buck. It seems to be taking a lot longer than normal.
Did you know rutting buck is a competition scent? Make your own mock scrape with rutting buck directly in front of your stand. Dominant bucks will begin to take over that scrape as a sign of dominance, best used in pre-rut, rut, and post-rut.
Hi everyone, Doug Roberts here from ConQuest Scents. I want to introduce you to a new product that we're coming out with. It's called the EverCalm Scrape Rope Kit. This is a 3-foot piece of hemp rope that you get. You get a stick of EverCalm and you get 2 zip ties. On this one, I zip tied a loop at the top of the rope, and that way I can slide it over, I can hang it on any type of branch. Now we're bringing all the deer in our area to one spot, and they're all kind of lined up in the perfect position for your camera, for does and bucks of all ages. Then once the season comes, it becomes literally a licking branch over mock scrapes or active scrapes in your hunting area. And again, it sets it up for a perfect shot if it's right in front of your tree stand or your hunting blind. Look for it at ConQuestScents.com or at your local sporting goods store this fall. And so I get this call from Nate and he says, hey, everything's good, but there was no semen. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no semen? He goes, yeah, there's just nothing. And they're thinking that maybe he just as a yearling hasn't matured yet. He hasn't got into the rut cycle. And I'm thinking this isn't normal. In all of these years, I've never seen a buck that hasn't started to produce at this time of the year.
Same, he's not producing any single sperm yet. 0, 0, 0, 0. So it's not ready yet.
No, we're just gonna call it. So.
We've got some question marks, and the biggest one is the buck sterile, which would be a huge hit because of his resistant markers.
This is the first time that I've actually managed the collection process from start to finish without Doug being here. Everything actually went very well today, other than the fact that the buck didn't produce for us. You know, that's a little bit disheartening. I wanted everything to go perfect for Doug being gone, you know, just help him build his confidence in me. Not my fault by any means that the buck didn't produce, but talking to the veterinarian, he thinks it'd be a good idea to try to collect him again in a couple weeks. There's a chance that he's just not quite as mature as he should be at this point, and the closer we get to the natural rut, there's potential that it kind of kicks him into cycle. So Genesis was low enough where he can be considered 0 at this point, but again, the vet reiterated that that could all change within the next week or two. You know, it's just based on hormones and what's going on with the rut and stuff like that. So we're going to try to collect him again before we artificially inseminate next week, and hopefully at that point he'll be ready to go.
Well, what most people don't realize is EverCalm is actually collected right here in Davison, Michigan on ConQuest Deer Farm. We have built a climate-controlled collection facility where the deer can go in. We create the bedding area and we collect all the scents and smells out of those bedding areas and process it into EverCalm right here on the farm. So literally, when you look at an EverCalm stick, from the time we collect it from the deer and the time that we produce a packaged piece of product, you're looking at a week or the maximum 2. Normally it's within 4 or 5 days that is processed. It's that fresh. So when you put it out in the woods in the wax formula, it is the freshest, strongest, most natural scent that you can put out on the market because it's been held in the wax, and the bag that it comes in is airtight. No air gets to it, so it stays in a neutral state. It's an all-season, all-purpose, all year-round, attractant, calming scent to the whitetail deer.
Man, dude, he's got all kinds of gnarly stuff going on. Oh, look at that.
You can now order real deer scents directly from the ConQuest Scents family-owned deer farm. Head over to ConQuestScents.com to purchase real deer scents for your next hunt. Save money with our scent packages. We have combined our most popular scents in specially discounted packages. They are exclusively sold right here at ConQuestScents.com.
That's Bucko, the very first 200-inch buck we ever had at 3 years old. Went on to go 204 at 5. Pretty cool. It's come a long ways in a short time. Nope, let me rephrase that. Come a long ways in a long time. 32 years.
Today is Artificial Insemination Day. It's also one of the most important days of the year to be a whitetail farmer. Doug Roberts is in the process of artificially inseminating his whitetail herd. But before the AI process takes place, a 1-year-old named Genesis has been found to have resistant genetics. The more negative numbers that are found in the genetic line, the more resistant they are to CWD. It's a breakthrough discovery that can change the deer herd forever. So the first process of the day is to dart the 1-year-old buck and collect semen before AI.
Good hitter?
Yeah, it's stuck in him.
Okay.
Muscle.
Okay.
Yep.
Once collected, 49 does will be artificially inseminated with resistant genetics. The same collection happened 1 week earlier, yielding no results.
Maybe in 2 weeks for post-rut collections.
The 1-year-old was assumed to be immature and not ready to breed.
Let's roll.
The buck was taken back to a pen with his own does, and as the rut started to fire up, the hope was he would be ready to breed and collect on November 5th.
We got some. It's better this week than it was last week, but he's still not. It's not the real white that you are looking for. They're going to put an IV into him right now just to kind of rehydrate him, going through the stress of everything.
With 49 does waiting to be bred, a sample will be placed under the microscope to see if Genesis has produced active semen.
Zero. There is no any sperm.
With 2 different collection attempts, it could be possible that Genesis is sterile, or this 1-year-old buck might be just too immature to breed at the present time, holding on to the resistant genetics that could change the farm forever.
He could be a late bloomer. I mean, we'll try to collect him into December or into January, and if he has nothing then we know he's shot.
So we're headed out to pick Genesis up right now. We just darted him 15-20 minutes ago. Another reason that we want to check him and see if he's producing semen at this point is I've noticed in the last probably 3 weeks or so, he's starting to chase some of the doe fawns that he's in with. Might be another indicator that he's actually producing semen, but at the same time, he could just be going through the motions instinctually. So we'll know here in a little bit when we get a look at him.
Definitely firmer finally, but still not increased to the size it should. So he may be producing a little bit of semen at this point. We'll have to wait till next year and see, but it's definitely not something I've ever seen before on a buck in all the years I've been doing this. You want to put him on the ground in case. It's very humbling every year that we get hundreds of phone calls, handfuls and handfuls of letters from successful hunters that are thanking us for producing such good quality hunting scents that they're able to use in the field efficiently, and it enhances the quality of their hunts. When we started, Karen and I, our goal is to make the very best scents possible. Ever chose to use them, that it would be a blessing unto them. 20-something years later, the company keeps growing and we keep getting those testimonies. And so it's a thank you to the hunters that trust us. They believe in us, they believe in our products. And when we see the pictures and we hear the testimonies and the stories, it's very comforting to know that we're doing something that's making a difference in somebody else's life. And that's a wonderful feeling.